Well, welcome back. Eric Arnold here in not the sports barn, secondary studio yet again. I haven't quite decided how we're going to do that yet. Seems to be working here in the secondary studio, although it is in my title that I shoot my videos in a barn, so it almost feels like I'm contractually obligated to do some of that. At any rate, it's Thursday. No, it's not. I'm lost. Yeah, it is. It's Thursday, February 25th. We're going to recap our winning. We had a winning night. Stop the presses. Stop the presses. We had a winning night on Wednesday. And then we've got a huge card here for you for Thursday. 17 games. 17 games. Let's put it this way. You wouldn't be getting those 17 games, I'll tell you that, if we had a losing night. So, I'm feeling good. So let's handicap. So let's have some games. Let's have some action. Off the top, we've added a few more subscribers. Brett Johnson, thanks for joining. Newest magnificent bastard. Salute to you. Yeah, let's get to it. Let's not bury the lead here. Oh, we're in the wee hours of the damn morning here, which means it's prime cat time. He sleeps all day, so now he wants to, get involved. So I'm sure he'll jump up at least 3 times before we're done. What else is new? Now I lost my train of thought. We were going to talk, oh yeah, the big EO-meter here. I think we've, I think this is a handy touch in that you can see at a glance right off we'll put it up right at the beginning of every video, and then you can see at a glance, okay, I've told you again and again and again that I'm losing, that I'm not winning this season. And there you see we're about, 5 games under 500. But, the recent activity, I think, will then show you, it's like, was he getting hot? Is he actually starting to catch a wave? Or, is he losing every game? And then we can just feel free to fade him at will because, he's a loser. So I think that'll help you determine, what you do with the information that you get here in these videos. So the brand new big EO-meter. Also, I think I'm gonna color code the stuff for my wife, so when she clicks on it, if it's blue, then she knows stay away. I'm gonna be pissed, bad mood. But if it's red, then she figures I might be in a pretty good mood, and she can ask me if she could spend money or something. So there you have that. Alright, so Wednesday, what happened here? Let's put that up. It was a really pretty good night. I mean, it opened up bad with the runaway destruction in the MAC. I did notice one thing, and I've kind of gotten away from this a little bit this year, but last year when I did this, we're into year 2 of the Sports Barn videos. We had started last year at the beginning of college conference play in college basketball, and our record was around 52%, maybe a little more. We had upwards of 400 or 500 plays, and so I was feeling okay about our record. One thing I was really feeling okay about is it did seem like when we would post the videos in the middle of the night, that the line, if it would move in our favor. In other words, like the Kent State game. I had it here at -4.5. And let me see if I can find the answer for us here. The thing went off at 6.5. So to me that means we're in the right place. That everyone else at least is seeing the thing the way we're seeing it. We got the best price on the game. So I figure if you continue to do that consistently, you're going to pick up a few extra wins you shouldn't get. So, I felt good about that. And then, of course, we lost by 19 points anyway. So, you know, it's no guarantee. No guarantee. All right, we're scrambling around here. Okay, and then the W started coming in. All these big underdogs we play. Finally, you know, tonight was our night. You know, Hampton, they finally showed up and got a win for us. What about North Carolina State outright beating Virginia at Charlottesville? Or Charlottesville. Well, whatever. So, yeah, good. You know, that was a great one there. I felt good about the game. I really did. Citadel does enough. How about that? You know, I guess, you know, the sandwich theory really came through for us. You know, both Southern Conference huge underdogs were relatively easy winners. Easy winners. Western Carolina won the game outright. They really, Greensboro really screwed themselves there. I mean, as far as, that probably will cost them the conference championship. Like I said, I know everybody out there thinks in terms of the big dance. You make the big dance or you don't make the big dance. But I tell you, these teams, these coaches, they look in terms of conference championships. You know, regular season conference championship. Did I finish with a better record than everybody else in my conference? Within the conference, that's what they look at. So that probably cost them the conference championship. What a mistake. And then, what about this North Carolina game? We got, you know, we're wrong, probably with everybody else. I don't know what to make it. I mean, now that you look at it, it's like, okay, yeah, I could see that, you know, the argument that here's Marquette, they've got a lost year, they're almost certainly not going to the tournament. They're probably going nowhere. They're not even going to the NIT. They're just going home. And there's talent on that team. It just hasn't been their year for whatever reason. And here, now you go into the locker room and you say, you know what, guess what? Next week, we've got a chance to go down to Chapel Hill and play North Carolina on television. It's going to be on one of the major cable channels. And we've got that now. And if I was a kid on that team, I'd be like, oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm getting up for that game. I mean, you know, what do you get up for? Playing Butler or playing North Carolina? So, you know, we read that wrong, along with everybody else. And what a bad loss for North Carolina, and the whole ACC for that matter. I mean, you know, that's going to hurt a lot of those. There's a whole lot of ACC teams right now that are in that bubble range, and you know, I think that's going to be you know, there were so very few non-conference games this year, and here is one, and the ACC, you know, is a pretty big favorite, gets their ass kicked. Not a good look there for the ACC. So, interesting. We'll see how that plays out. I was real happy with Rutgers. I honestly had written this game off as a loss. You know, I watched the first, I'd say 5 to 8 minutes of it, and I thought, we're dead. I mean, we're laying 3.5, 4 points, and we're already down 12 points. We're down almost 20 points already. It's like, what the hell? Rutgers just didn't show up. Maybe they just forgot to set their alarm clock, because once they got to the arena and started participating in the game, then they just wiped out Indiana, kicked their ass. I don't know if we're going to... It's just an extra, 20 minutes to do my hero of the night slide and whatnot, and I might just forego that and just tell you who it is. And you can look up the guy's picture on your own, perhaps. But a hero of the night would have to be from the Rutgers game. It'd have to be Senior Geo Baker. I think he was from New Hampshire. Is that it? He's a 4-year starter, I think, on that team. He's a senior. They said it was senior night at Piscataway, so they said well, this could be his last night. Although apparently he's allowed to play next year now because of some COVID rule where you can all come back again if you want to. So, you know, this guy, if he plays much more there at Rutgers, he's going to draw a pension. But for us, you know, salute to you, Geo Baker. Hell of a game he had tonight, passing and shooting and just leading the way. So, great. And then we had DePaul. That's a bad team. That's it's I don't know how they hold tight with some of these Big East teams. You know, some games they'll be close. I watched like 5 or 8 minutes of that game and I thought, oh my God, we're so dead. It's not even funny. I kind of think Creighton makes teams look bad. You know, I still like that Creighton team. That's still a team I think is, you know, possibly this year's Villanova. And by that I mean, you know, that year, the first year Villanova won the title, they kind of came out of nowhere and were just blowing people out. And it's like, who are these guys? I've watched Villanova, I've watched these guys for 40 years. And, you know, all of a sudden now they're like super team. Where did this come from? You know, Creighton kind of reminds me of that a little bit. So, you know, I'd hold that team, you know, remember that when you're filling your brackets out. And then lastly, game of the night, Arkansas, Alabama. This one went just the way we'd hope. You know, Alabama was just kind of, you know, they're kind of there. You know, they put out a half-decent effort, but Arkansas really sold out tonight. And a lot of those guys that didn't play in that first game had good games. That freshman, Jalen, was it Williams? He had a real nice game. So I don't think he played much in that first game. So good, yeah. I mean, a lot of heat in that game. I want to call him Tom Petty, and I know that's wrong. John Petty, he got kicked out. So it's like, uh-oh, the technicals are coming. People are getting mad. It's like, yes, heat, we love heat. Yeah, that makes the sports exciting. So, good, nice night, 6 wins, 3 losses. So, you know. Alright, so, let's go ahead then and get... So this video is going to be like 40 minutes long, probably. But let's get to the 17 games here. And you can pick it. You don't have to play them all. But I feel pretty good about all of them. I mean, you know, there's a rationale for all of them. No smooth. I don't pick names out of a hat. It seems, let's put it this way. Sometimes I think if I was picking names out of a hat, my record would be better. But... you know, there's a rationale to it. Not always winning, obviously, but at any rate. We open up with another one of these MAC games. Miami just had a huge game against one of the Michigans. North, south, east, west, central Michigan. I don't know which one. Where they were up something crazy, like 58-18 at halftime. Just waxed them. So... you know, now they're coming back, and they're only 5-point favorites here. I kind of, you know, I learned something. I guess the MAC isn't having a real playoff tournament per se, in that they're eliminating half the conference, the lower. If you ain't in the top 8, you ain't in the tournament. So, you know, Western Michigan, their season's over here in the next week or so. And we're just kind of hoping that just go away, just quit, just give up, just go. And I think Miami might be still trying to, you know, no time to take a break now if you're Miami. In other words, you want to stay in that rhythm. You just blew somebody out. You want to blow out some more people. You want to stay hot heading into the MAC tournament. So I guess that's what we're thinking is Miami's going to try to stay in rhythm here and play hard, and hopefully Western Michigan just gives up and quits and goes away. Now that being said, you know, here we're going the complete opposite, where Central Michigan, we don't want you to quit and go away. We want you to hang in there. We're getting, I guess that's it. It's like we're getting 19.5 points. This seems like a Jekyll and Hyde team. I know I looked at the scores throughout Central Michigan's season, and it seems that the top end of the MAC conference, the Toledos, the Kent States, the Ohio, Akron, these kind of teams, generally they're losing 10 to 15 points, 10 to 15 points. We're getting 19.5 points. So if they could just stay with the norm there, and they're coming off a huge loss. I forget who they got trashed by. Well, maybe it was that Miami of Ohio game I referenced earlier. That sounds about right. That to me there, it's like, okay, we just got wiped out a couple days ago. The coach, I don't know, has to say a whole lot there in that it's like, all right, the good players all go into the transfer portal, which I guess there used to be rules, as far as transferring. Now it's just like they're all free agents. Is that the deal? Are there any more rules there? I'm not sure. But, a lot of these players aren't talented enough to go into the transfer portal, so they're there. You're stuck. And, some of these kids are on scholarship. Well, I don't have to have you back on the basketball team next year, son. So, you don't want to have to go home to your daddy and say, well, I didn't play any defense for the last half of the season, and, now you need to come up with whatever to pay my school because I'm not on scholarship anymore. So, maybe some of these Central Michigan kids actually put some effort out into this game. That's kind of what we're hoping. And that Buffalo just, this is let's put it this way. This has got to be some kind of look-ahead game for Buffalo. I can't imagine their next opponent is as weak as Central Michigan. So, maybe Buffalo just does what those SoCon teams did tonight and just coasts. So that's the thinking there. I can't give you the first rationale in the Valley. The Valley of Death. We haven't had much luck in the Ohio Valley this year, but here we go again. Tennessee Martin on the road getting 5.5. I don't know. Can't help you. Sorry. You don't really care anyway, do you? I mean, that's a challenge to you. Put that in the... And don't just do it to do it. If someone stopped by just because they wanted to hear the rationale of the Tennessee Martin Edwardsville game, and I didn't give it to you, I'll answer your question in the comments. Then I'll look it up, and I'll, figure out my thought process there. I think it was that Martin's been home over a long stretch, and I honestly don't remember. I don't remember, so I'd have to look that up. All right, number next. Let's get to the big stuff, the good stuff. Iowa, Michigan. This one I went around with a little bit. So, well, Michigan's coming off that big win in Columbus, and could they be down a little bit here? Now here comes Iowa. I don't know. I just look. I'm an Ohio State alum, so I'm contractually obligated to dislike Michigan. I have to dislike Michigan. That's in my contract. But I like the way these guys play basketball. I hate it that they play that well, but they play well, so I can't deny that. And I just think they're better than Iowa. I think they play similar games, Iowa and Michigan. I just think Michigan does it better. It would not surprise me at all to see Hunter Dickinson outplay Luka Garza tonight. Not at all. I almost expect Dickinson to outplay him. That guy, in other words, Luka Garza, is he a senior? He's a senior. He's still in college. you know, okay, I'm with you that maybe Luka Garza is, you know, a throwback who wants to get a 4-year education, and the pros will always be there, and I want to be a fully rounded human being and have a 4-year education, and I don't want to forego the collegiate experience, whatever. On the other hand, he might not have been good enough to go pro until, you know, he matured late in his career. Hunter Dickinson is not going to be at Michigan for a number, you know, that dude's going pro either at the end of this year or into next year. I mean, he's that good. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just eats Garza's lunch tonight. And, yeah, yeah, that's how I feel. I could be wrong. Yeah, I could be wrong. But no, I'm real impressed with the Michigan team. I think they're the best team in the Big Ten. And then there's this thing Iowa fans, they call it Franuary. I learned that this week. They've got something they call Franuary, which I guess means that their coach Fran McCaffrey always fades in February. So, you know, it's still February, so we'll take Michigan. More Valley. More Valley. Yeah, this is probably another. Oh, I have a rationale here. I remember this one. This one is a look-ahead game where Tennessee State, you know, they're catching 11. Morehead State, they play Belmont next, and that's the class of the Ohio Valley. So, Morehead looking past Tennessee State to Belmont. That's the thinking there. Well, you got your Gonzaga game as Gonzaga goes for the undefeated season. I can't help it. I mean, I think we just have to take a shot here with the 31 points. I don't know, Santa Clara is terrible. You know, some of these teams in the West Coast are not awful. I mean, you know, everyone always thinks, oh, okay, that's BYU, St. Mary's. But then you got like San Francisco, Santa Clara. See, they got a, you know, winning record. I could see the Santa Clara starters being able to hold their own, maybe even outscore the Gonzaga backups. That's where the game will be won and lost in the second half. Well, game will be covered or not covered in the second half because it'll be the same old drill. Gonzaga will go out to a 30-point lead or what have you, and they'll pull the starters. And then, you know, will the backups, who I've been unimpressed with, are they going to be able to hold it? We're going to say no. In this case, we're going to say no. So, we'll take Santa Clara there. One other thought I had, and this you can put away for next year. Gonzaga has this huge, great home record, but I think a lot of that is predicated on normality and the fact that crowds, you know, they get a sellout in there, and then, you know, and it's a live crowd. It's not, oh, we're bored, you know, we're all going to go home at halftime. No, they're there for the duration, and they're there to have fun. So when the, you know, the job squad comes in, the backups, the crowd is all about these kids, you know, the walk-ons and whatnot, and they're going absolutely crazy anytime these kids do anything, and that pushes these backups to be better than I think they normally would be. Now, you know, now they're just, you know, not very good kids that aren't that good, and there's no crowd to push them. That's my thinking on that. So, all right, number next. Nebraska, Illinois. This is another one that's just, you know, you're catching a huge number of points in conference. I think Illinois now is just kind of, you know, they're just marking time until, you know, the show starts, if you will. It's been a long season. They've put up with a lot of silly rules that they don't have to normally put up with. I think these teams, these really good teams that are locked into the tournament already. I think they're just a little tired. And I know Nebraska has at least one kid that's playing his guts out right now. That's Teddy Allen, Teddy Buckets. He had 41 against Penn State and beat us. Thanks, Teddy. Maybe I'll have a villain of the night. He would have won the villain of the night. That's for damn sure. When he beat us with when we had Penn State 2 days ago. All right, this one I didn't know what to do with. This is another. I thought I got to throw this in there. This is such an interesting game. This must be a postponed game from earlier in the year. It's a non-conference game where Houston out of the Atlantic, or not the Atlantic, the American is playing Conference USA heavyweight Western Kentucky, and Western Kentucky they had a huge break of about 3-4 weeks, played 2 games, and now they've been off for another 3 weeks. So basically they played 2 games in the span of almost 2 months, and now they got to play Houston. I just basically that's just where I threw it down. Goes, I don't care how good they are normally. I don't know how you are going to play Houston in any way, shape, or form under those COVID crazy circumstances. I'll just lay the points with Houston. I just don't think Western Kentucky is going to have a very good game. And if I'm wrong because it's just another damn COVID thing. It'll never, with any luck, will never happen before or again. So. Now the playoffs start tomorrow. I don't know if you knew that, but the actual playoffs start tomorrow. The Horizon is having their tournament start tomorrow. In the lower seeding, it's beginning at conference or at campus sites, if I said that correctly. So we got the 5 and the 12 seed here in Robert Morris and Detroit. So Detroit, they're the 5 seed. Robert Morris, they're the 12 seed. We all know from the tournament what we do with the 5-12. We always take the 12, right? So that's what we're doing here. We're taking Robert Morris. There's a rationale to this. There definitely is. These two teams just played each other twice. Detroit won both games by double digits. So Robert Morris is coming right back and playing them a third time, 3 times in the span of 10 days. And I don't know. I'm just like, I just think Detroit's going to be looking past them. And they're just like, all right, go away, kid. We know we can crush you. We're not worried about you. And Robert Morris has a really good coach. They've got a guy that's been to the tournament, the Big Dance, twice already. Detroit has Mike Davis. Do we remember him? The replacement for Bobby Knight at Indiana. He coaches Detroit. He's experienced. He's an older guy. The guy, Robert Morris, he's about 40. He's a hungry guy. It wouldn't surprise me at all if that guy just comes up with something just to keep that game a little closer than it would be normally. So that's where we're going to be with that one. We're going to, say Robert Morris plays hard and keeps it close. And we picked all these games in the playoffs here in the Horizon. I just, you're getting this because I won tonight, because I'm in a good mood. I wouldn't do this normally, but and some of these jumped out at me. They really did. Youngstown State, I think they're on a roll. I like them at home minus the 4.5. Green Bay, same deal there. I think they're on a roll there, minus the 5 over Fort Wayne. So we got 2 home teams there. And then I don't even know how you pronounce that. With Indiana University, Purdue University at Indiana, or something like that. UIPI, whatever. They're getting 4.5 at Milwaukee. We'll take the road team there. So, you got 4 Horizon games there. honestly, the most interesting one to me there is the Detroit Robert Morris game. But, you know, yeah. All right, home stretch, here we go. Ohio State, Michigan State. You know, we got smashed. You know, we thought we had an easy winner with Illinois going up there to Lansing. What was that, 2 nights ago, 36 hours ago? And, you know, the Michigan State crushed them. They crushed them. And yeah, I have to think some of this is that Michigan State's getting better. You know, they beat Indiana, which is no great shakes, although, you know, Indiana is a desperate team, and Michigan State handled them. And then a really good team in Illinois, and they handled them. So there is definitely a path open for Michigan State to get into the tournament. No doubt about it. They've got some pretty winnable games coming up here at the end of their schedule. Yeah, I think they have 4 more games, 3 or 4 more games. You know, this game at home versus Ohio State. Then they got a couple of more winnable games. Then I think they host Michigan. You know, they win 3 out of 4 of them. They're pretty close to there. They're pretty close to where they want to be. And Ohio State, I think we're just down. I think, again, this is just, you know, it's been a long season. It's been a good season for Ohio State. But I could just see a letdown here. You know, we played our goddamn guts out against Michigan, and it wasn't good enough. Yeah, I thought our team played pretty hard, and it just wasn't good enough. So now I could see us just kind of retrenching, you know, maybe taking 10 to 14 days to mentally reset, to take a, you know, let's see how far we can go in the tournament. This game just doesn't mean that much to Ohio State. It just doesn't. So it means much more to the Spartans, and that's where we're going to be on this one. We'll take the points at home with the Spartans. All right, interesting game in the Pac-12 here, USC Colorado. Well, I mean, it looks like it's coming down to USC UCLA for the conference championship. And USC had a huge win over Oregon, a huge win. And now they're going up to Colorado. You know, I think the thinking's this, that USC we think is really pretty good. Earlier in the year, they lost at home to Colorado. I don't think that their star, Moberly, there's 2 of them, the better Moberly, I think that's the freshman, he didn't have a particularly good game. I think now we're later in the season, I think he's got a little more experience under his belt. We think at this stage of his season, he's better than he was back in December when they played and they lost to Colorado. So we think this version of USC is better than what Colorado saw earlier in the year. Also, I think Colorado might be just a little tired. I saw them play, was it Monday? Maybe it was Saturday. Maybe it was over the weekend. I forget. They played Oregon. That was one of our picks, so I watched that game, and that was a fist fight. It was really a hard fought game. And then since then they played Oregon State, and that was a close game too. You know, probably closer than it should have been, because Oregon State's not that good, but Colorado still only won by a handful of points. So I just kind of think maybe Colorado's just a little tired. You know, same deal here. I mean, Colorado's not going to win the conference championship. USC might. Andy Enfield at USC has never won the conference championship. I think they said something like USC hasn't won a conference championship since the 70s. Yeah, it's a big deal to these guys. So I think this game just means more to USC and I think you'll see that's how it's going to play out. So we're going to lay take the 2.5. We're getting points here. You know, these are two pretty similar teams, and I assume Colorado, you know, with the altitude, is probably, that's where you're getting the 2.5 from. We'll take it. We'll take that 2.5. All right, we got, what else? What else? Here's another Big Ten game. We've had Minnesota a couple different times this year, and I think our record's about mixed with them. They're at home. I mean, with a few exceptions, that's been a really good home team. And this is a game they must have. Gotta have this game. You know, this is a game you gotta have. You cannot blow this game. There are too many tough games in the Big Ten. Here's one that, you know, is on your stick. You gotta put it in the net. You're only laying 4.5 at home. Northwestern, you know, Northwestern's Northwestern. Yeah, they you know, the Pomeroy rankings look cool and all. And it's like, oh, wow, they're the 60th best team in the country. Yeah, but they haven't won have they won a game in the Big Ten? I mean, they lose every night. So, Minnesota, they're missing one of their best players, but that he was a hero for us, that Kalsher. He's out, but they got enough other guys that they can, I think, paper over that. We're going to say they're going to get it done. You know, if they want to make the tournament, this is one they need. And we're going to say they go ahead, get it done. You know, Northwestern, again, it's like how many times can they go out and play hard? And maybe they're going to be a little tired. All right, the Boise here, the Mountain West. Trying to think. That's what they call it, right? Well, this is a big game. You know, the San Diego State, they're, of course, the class of that conference. And I don't think Boise's had a very good record against these guys. Oh, that reminded me. I wanted to say something about Ohio State, Michigan State. I don't think we play well up there. Now that I remember, don't forget that. I think Ohio State's lost like 8 straight games in Lansing. You know, throw that in there. Okay, now back to Boise State and San Diego State. Yeah, Boise State's been playing pretty well. You know, they've been really playing pretty well. It's another game where they need it. San Diego State really doesn't. They need to get, they're playing 2 at home, or 2 against San Diego State. They probably need one of them. Otherwise, they're going to end up on the wrong side of the bubble as, you know, as Duke gets in. They'll put Duke in, and they'll say, well, Duke is blah, 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 blah. And then Boise State, they had their chance at San Diego and couldn't get it done. You know, it'll be something like that. So they need to get it done. And I figured the first, you know, game out of the 2, that's going to be where Boise makes their big move. I mean, you know, why hold your best cards? Whatever game plan you think's a winner, they're going to put it out there tonight. We're getting 6.5. That's a pretty good value there. So we'll take Boise. And then the last one here, again, I think we have pretty good rationale on this one too. You know, we're getting 9 points from Arizona with Washington State. Washington State is that's a live team. They're above 500. They just beat Stanford in triple overtime. I watched some of that game, and that was it was a triple overtime game, just as how you would expect it. It was a fight. And they just wore them down. They just imposed their will at the end. You know, finally, they made Stanford basically tap out. So I like the way Washington State played in that game. They played as a team, and like I said, they imposed their will on Stanford and made those guys tap out. They could have been anybody's game, but they got it. So, and then you got Arizona. I mean, they're coming off that big win at USC, but you know what did they have to play for? Their season's done. In other words, if you didn't know this, and I think I got this right, they are punishing themselves for this FBI nonsense. And they're decided to fall on their swords themselves and hope that the NCAA will ignore whatever the hell they've done. So they're not going to be in any kind of, I don't think they're going to be in the Pac-12 tournament. In fact, I don't see how they could be. That doesn't make sense. They told the world, we're not participating in postseason play. So their season's almost done. How do you get up for Washington State? I mean, I could see how you might get up for, the top teams in the conference, UCLA, USC. How do you get up for Washington State in these circumstances? So I think we got a good argument here, a good value with Washington State. So yeah, what is this? 17 games. I think that I feel pretty good about this slate. I'm going to be unhappy. Well, I'd be unhappy if we lose regardless, but I'm going to be particularly unhappy because I actually feel pretty good about these games. I think I'm really hoping to get 10 of them. How stupid is that? I actually think we're going to win. Well, they're good. So, hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for stopping through. Anybody new, you like this, you want more, hit the subscribe button. We're slowly, building our group of subscribers, which we call the Magnificent Bastards. Slowly, we're churning out the politics barn people and adding people that want to know about college basketball. We are going to do MLB. That is coming up. But first, we got a hell of a lot of good college basketball first. So let's not put the cart in front of the horse. Hey, thanks for being here. Hit the like button. From me to you, signing off. We'll see you tomorrow night. Eric Arnold out.